content such as text, images, and videos. And they're doing it by learning from very large data sets that we humans have created on computers, right? And if you want to look at the overall environment, kind of looks like this. Now, the first outermost circle is artificial intelligence or AI, and it's everywhere, right? Everything today, you go out there, even a banana is AI native if you want to buy it, right? That's just how marketeers have made it. But artificial intelligence is a very broad term. Anything that can match human intelligence is supposed to be termed as artificial intelligence, and there are very vague definitions of that. For the past 50 odd years, this term has been playing here and there. It's been, in the sci-fi movies. It's been, in our lives around us, but we've just not, acknowledged it for its existence. The next layer is machine learning, right? This is where things get interesting. So this is how systems are learning from data. Now, a best example that I like to give here is, imagine you're looking at your webcam and you're holding pictures of cats, right? And you tell the computer, hey, recognize these as cats. And you keep showing them hundreds of pictures of cats. After a point in time, when you show it a picture of dog and then ask it to recognize, it will say this is not a cat because it has learned what it is to understand and, identify a cat. But where things get interesting is when you go one level deeper in deep learning. Deep learning is us trying to kind of replicate what our brains do, right? From when we were a kid to now, we've been able to learn some really complex things, make friendships with a lot of people and things like that, right? So all of that is possible because our brains work in a very interesting network manner, and that is what we call as neural networks. Now, if I end up showing this same webcam, after showing it thousands of images of a cat without even telling it it is a cat, and then I go ahead and show it an image of a tiger, it will say 60% cat. And that is when you know that the system is really learning. You've not even told it is a cat, but it's able to figure out something from the cat family, right? I like to give this example because we know that tigers are like cats, but they're big cats, right? So the computer is able to identify this basis the training data that we are giving it, and the more and more we give it, the better it gets. And that's what we are seeing with all the learning models out there. The last or the deepest layer and the layer that matters the most to us is called as large language models. In fact, these form the core of generative AI that we see and use today. Large language models have the ability to work on language-related tasks, but now have started to become what we call as multimodal as well, because you can generate images, you can generate music, you can generate videos, you can generate all kinds of stuff today with the help of LLMs. Now let's go and see this practically. We've all done this, right? You put in an input in ChatGPT, and you magically get an output, right? You feel like I've just entered and the word starts screaming on my screen. But have you ever wondered what's actually happening here? What's happening behind the scenes? Let's try and get into that. And let's get into that with a meta example, right? Let's try and understand large language models with the help of large language models. That'll be fun. If I were to ask any AI today, explain large language models to me like I'm 5 years old, what will it do? The moment you press enter, what's happening in the mind of this large language model? Let's go inside, right? The first thing it does is a step called tokenization. Tokenize is nothing but breaking the text into smaller tokens. So you can see our statement in the middle and you can see the colors at the bottom on your screen. Each color is one token. Once you've broken these into tokens, you can then go ahead and embed them. Now, embeddings are nothing but converting the text into numbers. If you go back to your class 4 or class 5, wherever you studied, you will remember that teachers told you that computers are binary, right? They only understand ones and zeros. This is kind of us getting back to that because the computer doesn't understand English, but it understands each English word as a set of numbers, right? And the special thing about embeddings and why they are important is it puts similar words close by to each other in that neural network that we just spoke about, right? So imagine you have a close friend, right? They'll be somewhere closer, but imagine someone you met in your school, way back 20 years ago. They'll be somewhere far away, right? So you know that there is distance between these two. At least even just looking at a dog will be even more away because they're a different species, right? So that way, similar words are grouped together and different words are put away. And this is one of the most important things that embeddings do for us. Once they are embedded, the model then focuses on what are the most important parts of this text. Now, large language models and like and 5 years are important. Why? Because if it misses large, it'll just tell us about language models and maybe it'll explain about English and Chinese and other things. If it misses 5 years, it will end up giving you a PhD level explanation and none of us, not even me, will understand, what AI is saying. Right? So it needs to really get the query right. Now let's do this with a fun exercise, right? I want all of you to focus on your chat because we will do the next step thinking that we are AI. Now, if I were to ask you to predict the next word of this particular statement, what would your answer be? Imagine you have a super smart robot friend who has read every dash. And you can see it in the chat. Something interesting happens each time we do this. And let's do this exercise again. A lot of you chose the word book because you saw on your screen the word book exists, and in your context, you want to be right. And you wanted to say, okay, I think I just have two options. One of them is called book, the other one is called bank. So I'm going to choose one of them. But bank didn't make sense, so let me go with book. Now assume that I delete that sentence from the screen. Let's do this exercise again where you can fill the blank with any word that you think is right, that you think is most right. Let's try and do this exercise again where all of you will guess without your options being limited to book or bank. Imagine you have a super smart robot friend who has read every dash. And folks, I want you to pay attention to the chat because this really explains how we are similar to the kind of AI models we are building. What all words are you saying? There's mind, there's newspaper, there's sentence, there's story, there's patterns, there's information, there's news, there's words, there's brains, there's databases. The words keep coming. It's as diverse as the 13,000 people that are there on this call. And the reason for that is all of these feel like the right answer. So what is AI doing? If it's just predicting the next word, looks like there are thousands of words that could have fit this blank and we would have still been happy. What AI is doing is trying to pick the most probable word in that particular blank so that we are satisfied as users. You all remember the thumbs up and the thumbs down that you see at ChatGPT, right? Where you say if you like the response, you can give a thumbs up. It's actually optimizing the responses to ensure that the user is getting what they want. And they know that when they want, they will give it a thumbs up. Or when they don't like it, they'll give it a thumbs down. Or maybe we'll chat further saying, no, that's not what I meant. I want you to explain it like a 8-year-old. Right? So it understands that, okay, they didn't like it, so let me go ahead and refine this update. Now this is the last step where it chooses a particular set of words and it comes out something like this, right? Imagine you have a super smart robot friend who has read every book, every story, every conversation. And when you ask it a question, it looks through all those words it has learned and finds the best answer just like magic. Kind of like what we just did, right? So we're not very different in that sense. Now, a quick recap of what just happened. You put in a query, it got tokenized into small little chunks. Those chunks were embedded and converted into numbers. And those numbers then go through a very complex mechanism called as the transformer. And in the transformer, it understands what to pay attention to. Then it goes into prediction of what words should come after one another. And lastly, it decides saying, okay, I think this is the best sequence of words that the user will like. So let me go ahead and put it in front of the user. Fairly simple. I know it got a little technical in there, but this is something that will help you understand each time you're chatting with AI. And I'm sure a lot of you are doing that. You now have a wee bit better understanding of what's happening behind the scenes. Right? Awesome. Now, I'm guessing a lot of you understand how GenAI works. Yes? And I'm happy because once you understand what's happening in the background, you will then move on to the next part of this session, which is okay, I know a little bit about what's happening behind the scenes, but how do I get the outputs that I want? How do I ensure AI is listening to me? Right? This happens when you learn how to instruct or talk to models. In other words, it's called as prompting, prompting techniques, prompt engineering. There's multiple names for this. And there's multiple techniques that are becoming very, very popular. This used to be a field that people were crazy about 3 years ago. Today, it is expected from everyone that you know prompting like you know English almost in the global working world. I want to share with you one prompt structure. Instead of sharing, 60 odd methods that I've learned, I want to share one that will get started in terms of getting outputs that you really enjoy, right? And at Outskill, we call it the magic prompt formula. Now we'll do it again with something super meta, right? The use case that I want to cover is a workshop like this. Today we have more than 10,000 people here. But what if I want to go ahead and write an email to get 10,000 more people for the upcoming week and get more people into that workshop? I can write straight into ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or any of these AI LLMs, go there and say, hey, write an email to 10,000 subscribers inviting them for this generative AI workshop. Now, it won't understand what this is. It won't understand who your audience is. It won't understand a lot of things, but it will still respond because it's compelled to respond the moment you prompt it. But if you were to structure your prompt into something like this, right? It looks like an email itself, it's long, but once you get familiar with it, this is the way you start thinking. Every good prompt is broken into a role, a task, instructions, and data. Right? Now, if you were to break that down, you're basically saying, hey, you are an experienced email copywriter who's written for brands like Ogilvy. The task is write a launch email for a new workshop of Outskill of generative AI. Write an email inviting people who have signed up for workshops with Vaibhav Sisanti, who's the founder. Instruction is make the copy over the top fun and designed to resonate with an audience of 25-year-olds figuring their way around ChatGPT, which is a lot of us, right? And the data says include a review from someone who said that the session is a no-brainer for everyone, right? Now, when you break it down into this format, you have a very, very high chance of success. Now, each time you are learning to prompt for a particular use case, you want to ensure that you are using this prompting style. But how would you do that? Right? Let me show you a quick way for that. So I'm going to actually grab my screenshotting tool, as you can see. I'm going to just say, this is the prompt, and this is how lazy we are getting nowadays, right? So I've just captured that, and I go to any of these AI tools, say I go to Gemini for the moment, and I paste this in the chat, and I say, using the attached prompt structure, go ahead and give me a prompt for writing a super personalized cold email for my startup Regality AI. My goal is to raise funds. I want you to think as a super experienced pitch writer and fundraiser. That is the persona, the role I want you to take. And I want you to go ahead and give me the prompt, and then followed by that, give me the actual email basis this. If you have any doubts, please let me know. I just set that into the microphone, and my prompt is ready. It is. We'll give it 5 seconds, and you will see that it's already started crafting the prompt, which was our ask. So I literally screenshotted a good prompt and said, give me the prompt in this style. And there you go. It says, hey, you're a super experienced pitch writer and a fundraiser who successfully helped early stage AI startups raise seed and Series A rounds. Write a highly personalized, compelling cold email to an angel investor. Make the copy punchy, confident, and founder to founder. Very nice, right? And you can see this. It's already got in my context. It says Uber's scaling playbook, because I talk a lot about Uber. It's picked that up from my memory. Then it says Regality AI is about cross-border compliance. I didn't even tell it what the company is about, but it's able to understand this because it has access to the web. It would have gone ahead and checked the website, it would have gone ahead and checked the memory. But this structure has now become replicable because I can take this part of the prompt and I can go to another Claude, for example, and just paste this here. And click on enter, and immediately I will be getting in a new email, super structured, very personalized for my use case. Let's give it a moment, and in the meanwhile, we'll go back to appreciating the email that Gemini has written. There you go. So it says, I know your inbox is packed, but I'd love to share what we're building. Are you open to a quick 15-minute chat next Tuesday or Wednesday? Super actionable, right? I would have probably taken 30 minutes just because of how heavy this email is. Now let's go back. Okay, look at this. Claude is in fact gone ahead and given me two different angles. Do you want to write as an operator or do you want to write as an investor, right? And it then picked up you scale Uber's chaos. This is the same problem, different country. And there you go. It gives me, wow. It's now asking me directly, do I want to send this via email by just giving, an input, right? So of course, these different tools have different benefits, but the goal for us is to not just marry to one tool, but understand at large how can I use AI to get my stuff done, right? So that was us writing a super personalized cold email by literally just grabbing a screenshot from this particular prompt that Vaibhav has written, and we suddenly have his way of structuring the prompts available for us. So whenever you see a good prompt out there, remember this, you can just screenshot it and you can say, hey, convert my prompt into that, and then just store it, and you can keep using it again and again and again. Super cool, right? Now that you know at a very high level how a model works and how it responds to your instructions, you want to move on to the next step in your AI journey. You began with understanding a little bit of how AI works. You now know, oh, if I structure my prompts well, I will get very good quality outputs. But there's one other very important question before you get started on going crazy with AI. And that is the aspect of which model to use where. Now, whenever you're chatting with ChatGPT, right, you're not actually chatting with ChatGPT. You're chatting with the model that ChatGPT has built. Depending on if you're a free user, if you're a Go user, if you're a Pro user, you chat with different models. Same with Claude, same with Gemini, same with Meta, same with Copilot, same with Grok. All these were built by some very large companies. China and US are leading this race, but we have interesting competitors coming from France, coming from India. But at large, all of these models are their bets to making sure we are getting what we want. So for example, ChatGPT focuses a lot on generic audiences. Claude focuses a lot on working audiences, especially developers. Gemini focuses a lot on creative audiences. Their video and image generation capabilities are incredible, right? So every major model out there is trying to appeal to a certain audience and trying to make their work easier. So depending on what genre of work you do, you want to be aware of, hey, which model is the best for my kind of work? It's exactly like thinking about people. Which person will fit into that role that I'm hiring for? Right? That's the mindset that, I tend to use. And it's going to blow your mind to understand that each of these players, we think we're just using ChatGPT, but we're using all of these. We're using Claude, but we're using all of this, right? So each of these players has multiple models available for you. And if I had to ask you to take a guess on how many AI models are out there, what would be your answer? Because you've just seen about 15 odd models in the previous screen. How many models do you think are there? Thousands, infinity. I like the enthusiasm. But some of them look like they've been attending this mastermind from before because they're very precise numbers. Now, the commercially available models that you see are right here on the screen. So this is one of those slides that we keep updating every once in a while because every week there are new models that are releasing. As of today, there are 617 models or more. We'll go to the tool live and check. But this is indicating to you that all of these models are available for you to use. You might be like, oh, I thought only ChatGPT exists or ChatGPT and Claude exist. But the truth is, you have a lot more freedom once you get a little bit more deeper into the space of AI. Now, you might naturally have the question saying, hey, how do I know which model to use where? Right? So I'm going to show you two tools to actually understand that. The first one is the ranking list that you just saw, and we'll go live into that. This is a tool called as OpenRouter, and OpenRouter is a place where all these models are unified and provided to you. You can, pay a few credits like your, Venmo or Paytm balance, depending on where you come from. And once you add that, you can start using AI. You can start with, $1. If that matters, right? You don't need to take $20, $30 subscriptions. You can start with $1, and then you can start using some of the top models out there. Now, in OpenRouter, in this rankings page, there's something interesting that happens. Yes, there's a general leaderboard. Yes, there's a market share. But what I want you to focus on is the aspect of categories. Now, categories is where you can go by what department or vertical you work in. Right? And you can decide, okay, what do I do now? I'm someone that is interested in how is AI, which AI models are doing well in finance. So I just go ahead and click on finance, and you'll see some models that you probably didn't expect to, right? So even though Gemini 3 is out there, Gemini 2.5 Flash is the most used finance model. Then there is Claude Sonnet 4. Then there is, even older models out there. If I move to health, you'll see that Claude has come up to the top. Oh no, it's refreshed. Gemini 3 Flash is come up to the top. Qwen, which is a Chinese model, makes it at rank 2. And some of these models might be like, oh, hey, what are these names? I've never even seen them. That's okay, right? Because there's so many models out there that are incredibly good, and you just have to figure out what is the right model for myself. Now I can choose marketing for all those people coming from marketing, and you'll see that this ranking is again changing. And there's a Hunter Alpha that has come up this week. We've not even heard of this. But if 17.7 billion tokens or 10% of the world's usage is happening on this particular model, you might be curious as a marketer, saying, hey, how do I get to know whether this model works really well for me, right? So it's very important for you to have a bet saying, okay, I'm going to try these top 3 models. I'm going to try and see if they give me better outputs, and if they do, I'm going to finalize on one of them. This is exactly like your hiring process, right? Now, you might have seen a bunch of models there, but how do you actually get to use these models? Because, yeah, Avi showed me, the 600 odd models, but what do I do? Where do I go, right? So there's 2 ways in which you can do that. One is obviously OpenRouter has its own chat. And for free, you can test some of these models. So you can do flagship models, reasoning models, coding models, or role-play models. You can just go ahead and choose a bunch of models, right? For example, I can say 3, Gemini 3, and I'll see the entire Gemini 3 family, and I can add this and start chatting with it. But I'd like to show you another very, very interesting tool, because once you've decided what are the top models in your space, you want to know what you like. And this is very, very important, because this comes down to an individual. I and you might use different models, but our outputs might be, drastically different as well. And why is that? It's because we have a sense of judgment about whether something that is coming out of AI is good or not, right? So for example, if I ask a bunch of models in this lovely tool called as Multi, let me just open that. So this is Multi. It's called Multi because it allows you to compare multiple models for free, right? So you have a GPT 4.1 mini. Let's remember some of the names that we saw there. So let's see what's in the Gemini family. Okay, we have Gemini 2.5 Flash that was doing fantastically on marketing. So let me choose that. Let me also maybe pick a Chinese model. So I'm going to see what DeepSeek is coming up with. We have the V3 and the V3.1. These are good models again. Now I'm doing this naturally because I spent a lot of time with these models, and I want all of you to also do the same so that you know what is it that you want. Now I can just come here and give all of them the same prompt. Hey, can you write a poem about how everyone is interested in learning AI, but at the same time, AI is changing every day, so it's becoming impossible to actually learn. I'm sure a lot of you will relate to that thought, right? So I'm gonna just send, and you can see that all three models have been hit at the same time, right? And all three of them have given you an output. And this is super fascinating, right? Because you are now not married to just ChatGPT. You're chatting with ChatGPT, with Google, and with DeepSeek in just one interface. And then the way Multi's model works is they expect you to give it feedback. So it can go back and tell these companies that, we've seen someone who's written a poetry prompt and they say that they prefer GPT-4 Mini. Say if you want to if you like this, we go ahead and click on this thumbs up or this thumbs up, and we are giving it feedback. Now, this is where I said you have to figure out what you like. So you go through these and you say, oh, this is a 4-line, poem. This is a 2-line poem. This is a 4-line poem. Say you are looking for a 2-line poem, right? You would prefer this response. I'll go and say I prefer this response. It's accurate, it's stylish, it's insightful, it's well written. I needed a 2-line poem and it figured that out. Right? You say that and you send feedback and the feedback's gone through. That way, with the help of Multi, you're basically getting to a point where you can chat with your favorite models until you figure out which is your top model. And that is going to keep changing depending on which department or which vertical that you work in. For marketing, there's one. For finance, there's one. For health, there's one. You name it, they have a model for that particular vertical. Now, moving on, there's one model that everyone needs to know because it's the most powerful. And it's just been over a year since this is coming to the world. And this type of model is called as the reasoning model. Now, reasoning models have the ability to imitate or mimic chains of thought that humans have. Right? Say, for example, I want to plan a party. Immediately, in my mind, there's a bunch of new thoughts that come up, right? Let's do this exercise. All of you try and think, okay, today is a nice Saturday. Let me plan a party tonight at my home. Or should it be outside? Right? You can see how there's a new thought that came right there, right? Oh, I don't know if I want to do it at home. I don't know if I want to do it outside. If I want to spend money, I want to go outside and listen to some good music. If I want to just stay at home and make it a chill party, maybe I'll just invite some of my friends over and we'll watch movies and stuff like that. Now, our human brain just keeps on making these connections, right? You'll be like, oh, who do I invite? What for food? How do we do the cleaning? How do I order stuff? All of this is what we call as chains of thoughts because they just form naturally, right? They just form like one after the other. You have the output of the first thought and the input that becomes the input for the second thought. And that is an example of a chain. And reasoning models have this ability to operate in a chain. Every major company that we just saw in that previous slide has their own version of thinking or reasoning models. You can see that OpenAI has them, Google has them, DeepSeek has them, xAI has them. But the magic of this is not actually fun when it is explained, but it's actually fun when you start playing with it. Shall we? Let's go ahead and play with one. I'm going to take that same example that I've talked about until now, right? Awesome. I love the energy in the chat. Thank you, folks. Now let's go ahead and try and plan this party that we were talking about. Let's say you're throwing a party at a home or an event. You don't know if you want to do an event at office or you don't know if you want to do a party at home. You're confused, right? You want a reasonator. Ideally, you talk with your spouse or your friend saying, hey guys, what do we do today? But what if I told you AI can be a great partner for something like this, right? And you want to also invite these people, right? So let's try and figure how we would do this. I'm going to jump into my models again. So let me go ahead and pick a Gemini for this. And I'm going to say, now this is interesting, right? Gemini by default chose the fast model, and from today you will start noticing this drop down. You will be like, oh, there are multiple models. I don't want the fast model because I want to actually plan this party properly, right? So let me go ahead and choose the pro model. So in the Gemini 3 family, there's fast, there's thinking, and there's pro. We might use the thinking or the pro model for a task where we don't have the full clarity of what we want to do. So let me go ahead and use maybe the thinking model first, and let's see what it comes up with. Hey Gemini, I feel a little stressed, and it's Saturday, and I feel like I want to host a party or go to a party. I'm not really sure, but I know I want to have fun. I might want to do a home party, a lazy watch the movie in pajamas trend, or maybe I want to invite a few people from office and do a nice, diner in a nice restaurant where we have live music. I'm not really sure, honestly. So can you be my thinking partner in planning this party? Give me two completely contrasting things. Consider everything that would make a party great, and give me the list of all those parameters and how they would be for these respective party ideas. Can you do that for me? I'm severely impressed with how good voice to text has become, and we'll also talk about that in a while. So there you go. It says, I am planning weekend fun. This is the chain of thought, right? And then it goes ahead and says, sounds like you have had a heavy week with regality. Look at how smart these models are. It just realized we wrote an email about regality. And the kids. And you're caught in between needing a total system reboot. Almost scary the degree of personalization I'm starting to see. So it says, I have two party themes for you. One is a lo-fi sanctuary, and the other is a high-fidelity social. And then it gives you a comparison of two types of parties. Now help me pick, guys. Help me pick in the chat. I see some suggestions about let's have the party at the beach. That's an interesting idea. But I live in Hyderabad. There's no beach for the next 500 kilometers from where I live. Now what party should we go with? We have two options. We have a home party and we have an outside party. Okay, lots of people for home party. Looks like everyone's in the work from home mode. Alright. Let's go with that. So it says the lo-fi sanctuary, it's ultra chill, strictly comfy, intimate, food and drink, and entertainment and kid logistics. Everything it is able to kind of figure out. Right? So now, let me go ahead and say, hey, I think I want to go with the home party option, but I'm not really sure until I see this visually. So can you go ahead and create two really nice, hyper-realistic invitations for both these parties? Because once I see the visual invites, maybe I'll be in a better position to decide. Right? I do that, and this is interesting here because if we were planning a party and we want to get an invitation made, the old method of this would be, hey, I have a friend who can do some design on Canva or Photoshop. I call them and say, hey, can you do a quick invite for me? It's a small job, I'll pay you for that. Or it's a small job, please do this for me as a favor, right? We would do something like that. But the new method is that if you have an idea of how cool that party has to be, you can actually use AI to generate that yourself. So let's go back here and ask it to do that. And you can see that in the tools, there's a create image. Every major model now has the ability to create images. So let's see what it comes up with. And this is nowadays the painful part, waiting for AI to respond. Even though it is just 30 seconds, and maybe if you were to do this in the real world, it will take you a day, maybe 6 hours, 8 hours of coordination, sharing feedback, sharing ideas, and all of that. But here we are chatting while AI is going through visualize party invitations, crafting them, developing the concept, developing the option, developing the invitation, developing the visual again. So because it's doing two invites, it's repeating some of these steps, and there you go. We have, excuse me, we have two invites that are ready and that are put next to each other. Folks, I need your opinion again. On the left, you have a nice cozy blanket with some popcorn and TV. On the right, you have some wine glasses. And you basically have a nice outside setup. Okay, looks like folks are still excited for going with a home party. Now, I can actually go ahead and take this a notch higher. This was pretty fascinating, right? This was pretty fascinating that in 1 minute, we went from not knowing what party to have to 13,000 people coming to a consensus that, hey, I think a home party will be really, really cool, right? So let me go ahead and take this a notch higher. Now, when we were talking about graphics, it was still like, hey, I can do a little bit of Canva. This invitation looks fairly easy. I can also do this. But the moment you're going one level deeper, it gets interesting. The image that we generated just now is with Nano Banana, but Google also has other models, right? And if you were to do this for free, you can always do this in Grok or Leonardo. But what if I told you that we can take this a notch higher and move from not just generating images, but actually generating video? That'd be exciting, right? How many of you have thought of sending video invites for a party that you're doing at home? It feels like overkill, but why not? If you can do it, we should. So the next piece that I want all of us to see is use a lovely model called as VO 3.1, which is again within the same Google interface. So I can come here, I can choose create video, right? And all major models, if you're using ChatGPT, you have Sora, which does video. All major models have their own version of creating image and creating video. So don't worry about, hey, you're doing this in Gemini, can I do this elsewhere? Yes, you can do it elsewhere as well. Now what I'm going to do is actually take this screen grab from here because we like the left party. And I'm gonna spice this up a little bit, guys. So I'm gonna say, go to Pro, go to create video. I'm gonna say, hey, create a hyper-realistic video invite from the attached image. I want it to be a horror movie night. So I want the popcorn to pop without anyone, being involved. I want the mattress and the cover on the left to be moving gradually in a creepy way. I want the lights to blink like they've been haunted, and I want some creepy crawlies to walk on the table around the invitation that we just created. Okay, I went really crazy with that. Let's go ahead and see what kind of an output we get. Now, I want to give you all a heads up. We will click enter here, but generating a video will not be instant. It will take some time. So what we are going to do is give it a break, like how you would do with a video editor, right? Give them the task. Come back after 6 hours and then check in. But don't worry, it won't take 6 hours in the case of AI. So let's go back. So it says, hey, it might take a few minutes, please come back, right? So let's go back and let's continue with our session and we'll come back in a short while. Now, till now, you've learned the following. You've learned how a model works. You've learned how to prompt a model. And now you've also learned how to choose the right model. You also learned what are the ways in which you can get exactly what you want for yourself. I want to check the vibe in the room. How's it going so far for all of you? Is the pace okay? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? Where are we doing? Nice. I see a lot of cool, lot of good, lot of great, lot of excellent. Amazing. I'm glad that all of you are having a great time. I really believe that the best kind of learning is when you're having fun. So I like these party examples, right? But the truth is that Monday is upon us very, very soon. And I'm sure all of us hate Monday equally with a passion, right? So while we are planning this party, I know a lot of you are here for actually learning what you can use at work and make your lives, different. So let's get serious. And let's move to the last step of this particular session, which is where we will be building an AI toolkit. Now, to build a solid AI toolkit, I told you that I'll try to expand my spread across different things. So we'll do a few use cases in productivity. I'm sure everyone here wants to be more productive. We'll go into research. How is research done in the world of AI? We'll go into working with data. How is it becoming easier to work with data? We'll go and figure out some tools that will help you learn and absorb things faster. Everything in the world of AI is moving fast. I see a few comments also that, hey, this is going really fast. So how can you actually use some of these tools to learn things better? We'll also talk a little bit about marketing tools, and of course, I said serious, but we'll not do it without having a little bit of fun. So let's go ahead and try and see if we can make some of the serious work seem like fun. Now, the first use case that I want to cover is that of, can we all become people who can generate music? Right? And this is also going to be like a break for us because we'll have more fun with it. So I'm going to introduce you to the first tool of the toolkit. And this is a tool called Suno. But we'll do two things in this one. One, we'll go back to Gemini and check if it is done with a video invite. And then we'll jump into Suno and try and see if we can actually generate a song that will give us a 3 or 4 minute break where you can refresh, you can, take that bio break and get back. So let's go back and check in on Gemini. How many of you are excited to see what the video output is like? The video is actually ready. Okay, I want you to react with the first reaction that comes to your mind when I play this. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. Alright? How was that, folks? Super creepy, right? The interesting thing is, I forgot what to say about the cloth on the left, and I said just lift the mattress, and it's decided to completely go berserk with the mattress. The mattress is just jumping, the popcorn is popping, there's a few insects that are coming through, the lights are all crackling. Most important thing, and this should, either scare you or make you excited. We didn't even ask for music. We did not even ask for music. And it was able to add a very haunting track. And you might not have noticed it, but it adds a lot of value. Let's just listen to this one last time, yeah? I'm sure a lot of people will not want to come to the party after they watch that beetle jump on the popcorn. But that was us going from complete lack of clarity on what party to organize to jump all the way to figure out exactly what theme it should be, who should we invite, what should the invite be like, and eventually getting to a point where we almost had a video invite fully ready to post on your WhatsApp groups and invite these people. Now, like I said, it might be up to question as to whether all of them will come up, but let's go ahead now and jump into the other tool that I was talking about. So this one, as you can see on the left top corner, is Suno. Got a complex looking interface, but it's actually fairly simple, right? Now, should we take the party theme a little forward? And let's actually create an audio track that also goes with the party theme, this horror party theme, right? Because we like what we got there. I really like what we got there. So let's try and see if we can take that a notch higher. So I'm going to go back to Gemini, right? I'm going to say, okay, let me get rid of this chat because you can't do text and video in the same chat. So we'll go back to our party planning one. I'm going to say, hey, we ended up going with the home party, but with an extremely horror movie theme, and we did some cool video animations on top of that. But now I want to take this a notch higher, and I want to create an audio track that is, cinematic, that is EDM, that has got a big bass drop, but it feels like it's haunted and it's horror. So give me 8 lines of lyrics, and also give me the theme, the BPM, and the other details that would make this track exactly what I want it to. I'm going to use Suno.ai to actually create this music. So give it to me in lyrics and theme as 2 separate code blocks. Now, for those folks who are used to typing, this might feel like, okay, this guy is just talking into his microphone and it's typing out. We will get there very, very soon. So look at this. Now it's going back. Oh man, it's actually creating the music itself. Google's actually taking this a notch higher. I'm saying I want to work with Suno, but Google's like, hey, hold my beer. I want to do this for you myself. I don't want anyone else to get this job. Let's see what it comes up with. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to try and do this in a new chat with Gemini Fast. And I'm going to say, don't generate the music. Just give me the prompt. Right now, we are going to a phase where we are saying, hey, don't do all the work, give me some work as well. Right? So let's go. There you go. So we have the theme and the lyrics. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to Suno in the meanwhile. And first paste the lyrics. So, the lyrics are looking intense. And then next, I'm going to paste the actual style that I want to generate. I'm going to go ahead and click create, and it's going to take a couple of minutes to create. But in the meanwhile, let's go back and check on our friend Google and see if they've actually finished coming up with the track. Right? Oof. Folks, 30-second track. Are you willing to listen? And they've created album art also for us. Okay, this is going to be either insane or it's going to bomb really badly. So let's give it to me in the chat as to what you feel.
The shadows ride, a chilling sound, a phantom's whisper all around. The bass it drops, a primal fear, lost in the dread. The end is near.
I like specialist tools, right? So for the next couple of minutes, let's see what Suno's come up with. And wow, what timing. Suno's actually ready. Should we play the second one? You can use the next 2.5 minutes as your break as well. Just have your headphones on or your speakers on. Go ahead and listen to this. And we'll enjoy this track, and then we'll go back into the solid AI toolkit that we wanted to build. Now for those folks who are staying at your screens, again, do let me know what you think of the track. Let's go. That's creepy as hell.
The shadows breathe against the cold white wall. 1,000 whispers echoing down the hall. The clock strikes 13. The air begins to freeze. We're dancing with the ghosts and the memories. Can you hear the static? Can you feel the stare? Something's in the corner, something's in the air. Hold your breath and wait for the light to die. There's no place left for you.
for this. I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you can enjoy it later. But folks, that was us creating a track for the party that we were planning in real time. I hope that all of you are refreshed, because this is one of the last fun demos we'll be doing, because the other ones are going to get intense. Now, let's go back. All those who are wondering about, what prompts I've used, how did I talk about it and things like that, you will get there. One, you will get to see a lot more tools in this session, and two, Funny will be sharing with you a very detailed note of everything that we're doing in this session. So please don't worry about, making notes about the prompt. Try to get the method and the concept that we are actually indulging in here. Awesome. Okay. Now, to build a solid AI toolkit, let's actually break down our daily tasks. I'm sure not a lot of us are generating music every day. It'll be cool to generate music, but the truth is, we wanted to get into productivity, into research, into data, into learning, and into marketing. Now, I want to show you a bunch of tools that make a part of my day, and I want to show these to you in the order of how much I use them, so that it's real, right? Like, because as an AI practitioner, it's completely changed the way I work. So let's go ahead and jump into the first demo of the day in terms of your toolkit. So the first one is a tool that a lot of you have already been seeing but not seen. This tool is magical because it does not even show itself, but it's already working, right? And this is the voice AI that I've been using. You've seen me just talk to you, talking to the microphone, and my prompts are just magically appearing, right? This is one of the strongest uses of AI as I see it today, and comes to you with a lovely company called as Whisper, and the product that they've built is called as Flow. So this is Whisper Flow. You will have the details of the tools also come to you in the notes and in the chat. Now, Whisper Flow, let me quickly launch this guy, is a very nice way in which you can control what you type, but you do it with your voice, right? If you think about it, the keyboard is very unnatural, but talking is very natural. So to give you a sense of my stats, look at this. I've been using this product for 30 weeks straight. I've done about 190,000 words that I've dictated. That's like a couple of books. I've written this at 137 words per minute, because that's how fast we talk, all of us talk. And we can talk in our natural language. Like I can talk in Hindi, I can talk in Telugu, and still get all of that translated. And lastly, the reason why it is making it to the top of this list is because it's been used in 146 different apps. Yes, this is an app itself, but the advantage of this is, you saw in Gemini we used it, you saw in Suno we used it, you saw in ChatGPT we used it, we use it everywhere, and that is the magic. A little keyword on the keyboard or the mouse, and you're basically able to activate it. So that is the first tool, and you can see here, some of the prompts that we've been given. Now I want to take this a notch higher, and I want to create an audio track that is cinematic EDM, has got a big bass drop. We can all remember the track that we just made, right? So it's keeping a track of all the things that I say to it, and they are readily copyable. You can also maintain some snippets. For example, if I just say, hey, this is my personal website, right? I can just say, hey, this is my personal website. And you can see that in the chat. Instead of saying my personal website, it says, hey, this is buildwitharvi.com. So the website gets replaced with snippets. You can do that. You can add in your own style if you're formal, casual, or very casual, depending on where you're using it. You can also maintain some notes in the scratchpad, and you can add your own dictionary. So for all the names, for all the, all the proper nouns that are there in your life, right? You can see Bruno, Amma, Raghuveer, Rudra, all of these, words that don't make it into the dictionary actually make it into this particular dictionary that you can keep adding into. So that way, Whisper Flow is one of the most used tools in the world of AI, and I hope that all of you get a chance to get your hands on it. Now, typing is not natural, but it's not necessarily boring. There's one other aspect of our work lives that is absolutely boring. What is that? For me, it is making time for meetings, right? And as an individual, I know that I have multiple clients to deal with, and one of the things that worries me, and hey, if I spend all my time in meetings, when will I do the actual work? right? So what if I told you you can actually make AI attend meetings on your behalf? And today that is possible with a lovely tool called as Fireflies. Again, this is a very, very small team that is building $1 billion company. So one of those examples from Sam Altman's initial story. They've been there in the space way before AI became this hot, but now they are reaping their rewards, right? So let's jump into Fireflies. Now, Fireflies looks like this. Says, good morning, Raghuveer. You have 17 tasks, you have 4 meeting preps, and you have a couple of meetings that you want to kind of work with. Right now, I'm running on the free plan, but you can see that even the free plan is so generous that a lot of my meetings have been covered. Here's an example of a recent meeting that I had, right? This was just yesterday, where I spoke with a company where we discussed data pipeline development, hybrid classification approach, visualization features, licensing clarity is needed, AI integration challenges, user experience. So this is me as a practitioner that is having these meetings, and I don't have multiple teams to, hey, why don't you take notes? I'll meet you after the after the call is done, right? All of that is kind of not there for people who are wanting to expand their bandwidth, expand their capabilities. Now here you can see that I can just go to Ask Fred, and I can say, hey, I want to write an email to follow up with the client. Can you give me a list of all the things that the client was responsible for? And can you give it to me in an easy to copy format so that I can use it in my Gmail? Right? So that was Whisper Flow being used in Fireflies, and I can quickly just send that message, and it's going to say, hey, here are the action items for your client. So I just quickly copy this and then paste it into Gmail, and boom, I am able to give them immediate follow-up to the action items that were discussed in that particular call. How do I make it join a meeting? So I can, go ahead and say that, hey, you have to join meetings along with me. I can give it access to my calendar. So when you go to meetings, you can see that it has access to my calendar, and it's able to kind of naturally know what are the meetings that are available. But I can basically make it join any meeting, whether that's happening on Zoom, whether that's happening on Teams, whether that's happening on Meet, irrespective of what major platform your meetings happen in. You can now actually go ahead and give Fireflies access to your meetings, and it's going to attend to those exactly like a teammate would, an executive assistant would, right? So that was our second tool of the day, and that is Fireflies.ai. Now the third one, this one's a favorite of mine because I think this is the most generous free tool that is available out there, and this comes from none other than Google, the stable of Google that has been releasing some amazing products. What if you want to chat with a YouTube video, right? Or you want to just learn faster? The solution to that today is a replacement to what used to be our notebooks. While I still have my written notebook, but I write very few impactful things there. The majority of the consumption, like for most of us, is happening on devices. Right? So Notebook LM allows you to go ahead and get deep into any topic. And let me show you a few of my notebooks, right? So I can quickly navigate to Notebook LM. Let me just find that. There you go. So here's Notebook LM. And you can see that there's a bunch of featured notebooks. So if you want to learn about William Shakespeare, you can jump right in just to get a demo. There's an archive 1945, everything that happened in that year, you can research about that. But here's what I'm interested about, right? I'm interested about AI. So I have a few topics about AI. So there's one called Retrieval Augmented Generation. There's Mastering AI Prompts. A lot of you have been asking about prompts. So maybe we should dip into this. There's also Day After AGI, which is debating the future of intelligence. Let me go into this, right? Now the beauty is I've given it a few, sessions and links. So on the left, this pane is called as sources, so I can keep adding new sources, right? For example, I just go to Google and say, hey, YouTube video on prompting techniques in 2026, right? So I get this video, open that.
Most people are using ChatGPT.
And I quickly copied the link. All I need to do is click on add sources, click on websites, and paste the link here. That video that we just found, right? You just click on insert. And in less than 30 seconds, there you go. It's already been processed. It's already been processed, right? And now you can say, if I were to use one new prompting technique randomly, can you pick one that you like and share it with me from everything that you know? Such a fascinating way to learn, right? It now becomes, how do you want to break down your knowledge? How do you want to, ensure that you are actually getting the best of your knowledge, right? So in the center is the chat, and in the right is Studios. Now Studio can do audio, can do slide decks, can do video, can do a bunch of things for you, right? You can just literally click on all of these and it'll make them ready for you, right? So while some of these might not be really immediate, because again, generating video, generating audio will take a lot of time. You can see that the tasks are lined up here. One of the things that I've already done and I would like to show you is the mind map. And we've added a new source, but I'm a very visual learner, right? So instead of reading those big PDFs and slide decks, instead of going through 40 minutes of YouTube video, if I had a lecturer come to me and tell me, hey, today we're going to learn advanced prompting techniques, and we'll go through foundations, we'll do some co-prompting, we'll do frameworks, we'll do self-correction, and we'll do a specific style of prompting. I would be like, okay, this is just 5 things, very easy. Now let's go deeper. Boom, let's go even deeper. There you go. So as a visual learner, covering multiple topics, branch by branch, makes me feel like, hey, this is not very large, I can do this, right? And that's why it makes my absorption that much more better. So all of you who are trying to figure out how do I stay on top of this wave, this tsunami of AI that's happening, definitely go ahead and use NotebookLM. It allows 50 sources for free. If you're on the Pro plan, if you're in India especially, you get the Pro plan for 18 months for free from Jio. Just go ahead and get that, and then you can add 200 sources that, basically allow you to add all the books in your life in one go, and you can basically keep chatting here and getting smarter and smarter and smarter. So that is the mind maps within the studio. Let's see if any of our other elements are ready. They're not. Maybe we'll come back and jump back into this, or in fact, I can show you from some of the other places where I've already generated this, right? So this is the topic of AI in the future. And you can see that I have flashcards that are generated. So I can just quickly click that and you will see flashcards. What is AI? AI. It's asking me questions that I have to respond to immediately. And that's a quick way of quizzing yourself and learning better, right? So you can quiz yourself and give exams if you're missing that for whatever reason, right? But I can also do this. This entire 10 different sources that I have on the left can become a 15-minute podcast that I can play right now.
Essay Machines of Loving Grace. It's basically his utopian manifesto. Then there's the transcript of his debate with Dimas Hassabis from Google DeepMind.
Which was very revealing.
Both of these voices that we're hearing are AI.
And we're grounding all that with two classics. Nick Bostrom's 1997 paper on superintelligence timelines.
Which is disturbingly
So this is scary, right? It's taking 10 different authors, converting them into 2 voices, and then giving us the summary of it. So the CEO of OpenAI, CEO of Anthropic, CEO of all these companies, they write blogs, they do videos. Just take all of that, dump it into NotebookLM, and start listening to it like a podcast. And you know what is super fascinating? You can actually participate in this podcast like you're a real speaker. That would be insane, right? Let me show you how that works.
accurate, by the way. Okay, so let's start with it. Oh, hey, I think our listeners got something to say.
Hey, so while you're talking about the apocalypse, I do think I stand on the utopian side. So let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
And I think that AI can make a real dent in all the problems that we are facing as humans today, and that's the direction that it's going. I don't see all this pessimism and this negativity that comes with, hey, AI is going to take over everything. I think it will be a great tool like most other technologies.
That is a wonderful absolutely critical point.
Thank you for jumping in with that.
You're touching on why people like Dario Amodei focus on the risks.
Okay, let's unpack this.
He says he focuses on risks because they're the only thing standing in the way.
Standing in the way of what?
A fundamentally positive future.
A future.
Folks, I just want to give you all a moment to realize what just happened. We had 10 different articles, couple of YouTube videos, get converted from all that would have taken 20-30 hours into a 15-minute podcast. Not just that, you could join that podcast and chat with artificial people, right? You're basically making your conversations with artificial intelligence by giving in your words and it's taking that as input and then responding back to you. How incredible is it that we get to learn in a time like this? So if you're here to learn, let me just tell you, it's one of the most exciting tools out there. It's called Notebook LM. Please go get your hands on that. Awesome. I hope that you enjoyed that demo. Now, let's go ahead and go into some even more serious use cases. And when I say serious, you know what my currency is? My currency is, can I save time? Can I save time by, if it used to take me 1 hour, will it take me 10 minutes? If it used to take me 10 minutes, will it take me 1 minute? Let me show you one of those tasks that used to take me 6 months. But today, I'm able to do it in maybe a few minutes. And the tool of choice for me for this is none other than Perplexity. But if you don't have Perplexity or if you've not tried it yet, remember that the same thing can be achieved with Gemini Deep Research as well as ChatGPT Deep Research. All you need to do is enable that functionality. Like how we enabled video generation and image generation, you are basically trying to enable one more feature called as Deep Research. So let me jump into Perplexity for the next one. Alright, I have it right here. Now, in Perplexity, when I'm doing something like this, I will have to choose Deep Research. And I will go ahead and say, hey, I've just been laid off and I'm now ready again to interview. But this time I want to make a switch in my career to work in AI native or AI first companies. So I need you to help me with a research project so that I can understand where to begin this particular journey. I want you to go ahead and cover the companies that are interesting in the space of AI. I want you to then dig into their careers page and find out what are the kind of roles that they are hiring for. I want you to then go ahead and give me a nice curriculum or plan that I can use to learn and prepare for these interviews. I also want you to do a study on the culture that is there at these companies because culture is very important to me. And I want to ensure I'm joining an interesting space, but I also want to ensure I don't want to be in a toxic space. I'm sure I'm spoken the mind of a lot of people out there when I say this, but I do that in Whisperflow, large prompt, let me go ahead and hit submit. Now what's interesting is Perplexity will actually do this by generating real-time agents that will search on your behalf. So you can see this. It says, hey, I'm retrieving your previous career preferences and culture priorities to tailor AI's native prep. So past career focus, preferred work culture, target roles, AI companies. Then it comes back and says, hey, I have a few questions for you. Which role track are you most interested in AI first companies right now? So I'll say, hey, I think I like the product manager role. So I'm going to choose that. What company stage are you targeting primarily? You know, I'm done with early stage startups, so maybe I'll go with the Series A. It's interesting that it also recommends this. Right? It's becoming my strategic hiring advisor. Geography and work setup preferences, I definitely want to be in India. So remote friendly and global roles sounds great. You know, great if I can get paid in dollars while, you know, spending in rupees, right? That's always amazing. How would you like me to deliver this research? A report, slides, app, or a spreadsheet? Now we are just getting pampered for choice. I want to say, just give me a report and then go ahead and do this. So it's going to go ahead and try and dig into top startups, AI native companies, AI product manager roles, searching on your behalf, and it searches really fast. Right? In fact, at the end of the day, it's going to tell you how many sources it has covered, and you will be kind of shocked because how much it is going to get done in a few minutes. Now we're going to move back to the slide deck. because by the time it looks like it's already generated the report. I thought we'll give it some time, but looks like it's ready. Let's go ahead and see what it's come up with. So it says, this is your journey to breaking into AI for startups as an AI product manager. The executive summary is, there are some big names out there, and there are some other names that are also listed down. Core model and AI platform layers, AI native application companies, India and global remote AI startups. So it's taken in all my considerations. It says, these are your, companies, these are the categories, this is the, example roles, and these are your notes for you if you want to, just try and understand in one line what they're hiring for. Then it goes into individual companies and tells you what is available in their career stage by digging into that, right? Then jumps into Perplexity, Mistral, Cohere, Writer, lot of those AI tools, and then it tells what is this role exactly about. So if I'm a complete noob, I don't know what AI product managers do compared to product managers. I'm going to read all of this and understand this role better. Then it says culture patterns in AI first companies. Mission intensity and safety focus. So Anthropic and Safe Superintelligence are good at that. Autonomy, ownership, and flat structures. So not a lot of corporate, bogus stuff that is there. Intensity, speed, and burnout risk is there because, of course, they are fast-moving startups. Values and interpersonal norms. And then how to evaluate culture and avoid toxic environments. It's giving me advice on that, right? And lastly, it gives me my own curriculum to land an AI role. Clarify what you want to be, strengthen your AI product literacy, reinforce analytics and experimentation basics, build and shape a couple of portfolio projects, practice evaluation and monitoring, explore developer and platform surfaces, interview specific prep, product sense and case practice, metrics and analytical questions, technical and research collaboration, on it goes on and on and on. Now it'll get a little overwhelming because of how much detail it's done in a couple of minutes, right? So you can see that anything that needs a deep thought, anything that needs a lot of knowledge, you're able to do that with the help of deep research, right? And like I told you, if you jump to a Gemini, you can press this and you'll find deep research right here. You also find it available in ChatGPT and in other tools that you want to be using in the AI world. So that was us trying to get maybe a few hours of work done in a couple of minutes. And depending on the size of your research product, you will probably do 6 months of work in a week. Right? You will do a week's work in a day's work in a few minutes. And that's the world that we are moving to. Now let's say that this AI PM role that we just prepared for, we do the good yards, we do the reading, we do the hard work. But now it's time for the interview. What if I told you that you can actually use AI to help you prepare for the interview as well? And this time, you're not just talking to AI, AI is actually responding back to you. And this is happening as a voice conversation. That'll be insane, right? So let me go back to Perplexity. And I'm going to maybe give it a follow-up prompt, right? By saying, okay, I want to prepare for the AI PM role. What do you think I should do to rehearse this particular interview? Give it to me as a prompt that I can read out to a voice-based AI. Give it to me in 3 short lines. Right? So now we are using it, use its research, and then get deeper into preparing for this. There you go. So it says, act as a senior hiring manager at a top AI startup interviewing me for AI PM role. Focus on LLMs in agents and ask realistic questions. Ask me about understanding metrics and behavioral stories. That's a nice nudge. Maybe I can go to ChatGPT for this. We've not opened the hero until now, so let me open chatgpt.com. And this little buttons on the right get ignored a lot. One of them is dictate, which allows you to do what Whisperflow does. You talk to it and it types the prompt. The other one is actually called as use voice. And not a lot of people end up using this, but it's super powerful. Let me show you how. Hi there, can you hear me?
Hey, yep, I can hear you loud and clear. What's up?
I'm actually preparing for an AI PM role, and I need you to play the role of a senior hiring manager, and that to one who is, a grilling, serious kind of a person, because I want to prepare and rehearse for my AI interviews.
Absolutely, I can do that. Let's get into it. I'll ask you some tough, in-depth questions about AI product management, your experience, and how you'd handle specific scenarios. Ready to dive in?
Yes, I'm ready to dive in, but I don't want you to give me feedback live on the call. Let's make it sound and feel as real as possible.
Got it. Let's get started. So tell me about a challenging AI project you've led. What was your role, and what were the key obstacles you faced?
So this is for one of the consulting projects that I've taken up, and in this, we wanted to build an AI decision-making support system that helps with logistics-based decisions. But then we realized that the data lake or the core data that they had was completely broken. So we ended up having to upskill about their schema, their existing setup, and then building the pipelines for the data to flow, and eventually got them to a point where we could build their own small language model for them.
I see. And how did you prioritize what to fix first in the data infrastructure? What factors influenced your decision-making process at that stage?
That's an interesting one, because the data got messy, because the business got messy. So sometimes you're just adding in new elements just to ensure that the business doesn't drop. So they ended up not following the architecture or the principles of enjoying good data, and that is what ended up making the data a whole spaghetti kind of a structure. So we wanted to understand what are the business processes, what is the architecture that it needs, and then with first principles try and understand what is broken in the data.
Got it. So once you identified those core issues, how did you ensure alignment between the business goals and the technical requirements for the AI system?
So I was working with their developer team. I was also working with their business team. With the business team, the important aspect was communicating and calling out that their data is really messy and they cannot build any good AI system without good data. And on the technical side, we started prepping for other things we can do while this lag was currently in place.
Makes sense. How did you handle resistance or pushback from stakeholders who might not have fully understood the importance of data quality in the early stages?
This was a common challenge because a lot of people wanted to push for immediate results, and we realized that we cannot give them immediate results without a good foundation. So we ended up having to, put our foot down and let them know in as many words that we can only work if the data quality is up to it. We kind of risked losing the project, but at the same time we realized that it was important to ensure high quality delivery, and we wouldn't do it any other way.
Standing your ground on quality is crucial. Ultimately, how did you measure the success of the AI?
I want to interrupt you. I want to know how I've done so far. So go ahead and go through your interview parameters of how you would judge a candidate, and give me my report on how I've done so far.
Sure, you've done a solid job so far. Here's some quick feedback. Clarity and structure. You articulated your experiences clearly and provided a structured response to each question. Problem-solving approach. You demonstrated a strong understanding of the importance of data quality and how to align technical and business goals.
This is AI training.
Handling challenges. You showed that you're willing to take a stand on critical issues like data integrity, which is a key trait for a PM role. Overall, you're conveying confidence and a clear understanding of the project lifecycle. Keep it up.
Now go ahead and be critical and give me all the negatives that you've noticed from my conversation. That's where the real deal is.
Alright, let's dive into the critical side. Depth of detail. While your answers were clear, they could benefit from more specific examples or metrics to quantify success or challenges. This adds credibility and shows a results-oriented mindset. Conflict resolution. You mentioned pushing back on stakeholders, but it would be helpful to hear more about how you managed those conflicts and aligned everyone.
So I'm going to end that at that. Folks, that was us literally using AI And the beauty is, it gives you the entire transcript. So if you're someone who's preparing, wanting to get better, you can go back and see your responses and say, oh, I'm not going to do that. Because the reality is, how much ever you prepare for an interview, there is no substitute to actually being in a situation where you're responding real time. Right? And AI actually does a great job of that. When you're doing it with your friends or with your mentors, it's not this serious. Here you can give it any profile. You can say be serious, be humorous, be cryptic, be confusing, and it's going to do all those roles, and you can prepare in multi-dimensional ways. Right? So that was us trying to use ChatGPT to better prepare for this. I hope that all of you get to use voice with ChatGPT, and it's incredibly powerful. All the major AI models again have a voice mode. It's just one of those features that gets ignored a lot. Now, we've prepared well. We understood what role we want. Say we've cracked the interview, right? And a new role will need new skills. But often, there is no time and you have to deal with something like this, right? Day one in a new job, they'll throw a dashboard in your face. And they're going to tell you saying, hey, get to know this, this is going to be your Bible. This is going to be the source of truth for everything that you do here, right? I've been in situations like this where I had to upskill really fast and get familiar with the new company's terrain. But nowadays, that is becoming even more simple. And let me show you how simple it is, right? So I can literally just screen grab this pixelated graph or dashboard that we have. And I'm going to next move on to Claude for our next demo. Because we're jumping between multiple tools, and this is me proving to you that which tool does not matter as long as you're able to articulate your request really well. So I did this as a screenshot, right? Let's see what it can do for us. Hi Claude, I want to understand this dashboard entirely. This is my first day at work, and I feel like I don't understand a lot from this. So get started with the basics. Explain to me like I'm 5 years old first. Then explain it to me like I'm a mid-level management guy. Then explain it to me like I'm in the leadership. Right? Quick lazy prompt like that, and Claude will get started. And soon we will have our response. Give it a couple of more seconds. There you go. Here's a full breakdown like you're 5 years old. The dashboard is a scoreboard for money. It answers, do we have more money coming in than going out? How fast is money moving? Are we winning or losing? The big numbers at the top, so at the top, right here. It says 6.6 million are owed to us, 1.6 million we owe, 70% equity, mostly our money not borrowed, 1.1% debt, very low borrowing. Your days sales outstanding and days sales incoming, 10 days, inventory clears very fast, and customers pay you very slowly. We also delay our payments. So 7 days you're getting in the money, but 28 days you're making your payments, which means a lot of this money is in your bank, right? And beautifully explained, right? Then it goes ahead and does this at a mid-level management. And we've also asked it for like a leadership level, and it's going to do that as well, right? In a very quick screen grab, you could unlock massive amounts of value, and it's like having a coach for yourself if you know how to prompt well. Right? So now it's doing like a leader. In fact, I can go ahead and say, hey, I have a meeting with my CEO in 6 hours. I'm in the product and marketing team. Can you give me top 3 talking points that I have to raise with him or discuss with him when I go for this meeting? Can be used for meeting prep as well. And it is going to be very good for starting these thoughts. You don't have to use all of this as is, but you know that, revenue growth is concentrated in H2. So it's calling out things that are not very obvious, that are not direct, that will take you time. Collections are fast, but cash is still tight in the middle of the year. The cost structure is scaling with revenue. Right? So all macro level questions that you would talk with the CEO, and then with explanations that go beneath. Right? So that was us taking a complex dashboard like this, just screen grabbing it, putting it into Claude, asking it the right questions, and then you're able to break it down completely. What I want to call out at this moment is the ability to think and ask questions has become more important than actually knowing the particular skill. If you can ask the right questions to a data analyst, then you don't need to be a data analyst anymore. Because AI can really help you get through those skills that have repetitive steps, right? Now, while this is scary if you're a data person, you must understand that you're on the top of this curve and you can actually use Claude to make even more complex things than what you were already doing at your work. So use AI as a stepping stone to go ahead and look beyond rather than being threatened by it, right? The only thing that you can do right now, because this AI wave is coming whether you like it or not, is to try and get your hands dirty with as many tools as possible. Alright, now let's flip the lens a little bit and let's go ahead and do some creative work. Now, I've spent a lot of time and money in getting product photo shoots done. Now, whether that's for apparel, whether that's for shoes, whether that's any retail product, any food product, you understand the visual impact is very important, right? Now, for this, I have a favorite tool of mine called as Put.ai. This is an incredible tool because it actually really helps you with understanding all the ways in which creative teams work. So it's not just one tool. Let me jump real quick into that so that you see what all it can do. So you can see that it has a background remover, it has a replacer, it has an object replacer, it has an object remover, it has a generative fill. The tools list is just unending. So this is one of those tools that can replace like multiple creative tools in your stack. But I'm going to jump into the studio to actually show you how we are going to do this. So you can see that within the studio, you have AI visuals, AI ads, you can do a bunch of things. Today, we are here to focus on the product photo shoot. So let's dive into the product photo shoot. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time, so we'll need a little bit of patience here. But we can choose one of their existing products and try and see if we can play with it and get us to a point where we got the look and feel that we want. So there's a shoe, there's a bottle, there's a bag, there's a few examples that we can actually take from here. Right? I like the shoe one because it's giving us nice, strong visuals here. But let's see if we can pick one of the other ones. Let's just give it a moment. Sometimes these tools tend to get buggy when a lot of people are using it. So folks, if you're using it live on the call, please wait until the end of this session so that we don't crash the entire tool. Okay, seems like it's loading. Let's give it 30 more seconds. Now while it's loading, let me just go back here and show you. So they have image manipulation, they have text to art, they have editing and enhancement, and they have a bunch of AI solutions that do the final product for you as well. Right? So lot of very interesting stuff. And if you're planning with AI tools in your creative, you can actually get multiple outputs from one tool that is there. Right? So let's wait for the image to load. Say you're planning one photo shoot, it's equal to planning like 4 or 5 photo shoots if you're able to actually utilize all the AI tools that are available around. There you go. So this is a hemp seed oil. It's removed the background, it's made it ready for us. So let's actually do this. Hi, I want this product to be placed in premium plush 7-star hotel setups. Identify key areas like the washroom, like the dresser, and other places where it could give you the feel of relaxation and it should feel like being in a spa. Right? So now we've generated a prompt for this, and I'm going to go ahead and click on generate. All those people who are working in e-commerce, in B2C, you will notice that, getting the right lighting, getting the right, product look and feel. Say you change the design a little bit, you have to redo the shoot entirely. Now all of that is gone. Any place where you have ideas of how to use AI tools, you will either save money or you'll save time. So ensure that you're getting your hands in all of this. Now, while this is loading, why don't we use this time to actually go back and look at other tools and get back here once we think it is ready for us. Now, the next tool that I want to show you is one of that if you were looking for a person to help you with something, right? And this could be multiple ways, right? You can look at, hey, who are all the people hiring right now if you're looking for jobs? You can look at who are all the people investing right now if you're looking to build a business. You can look at who are the people that I want to join in my team if I were to look at talent that is going to come and work for me. So depending on which stage and which goal you have, you can always decide to use this tool differently. And this one's got a lovely name. It's called as Happenstance. And Happenstance is your friend in terms of finding people from your network. So let me quickly jump to Happenstance. And in the meanwhile, the tool decided to show up. Imagine having to go to a 7-star and actually getting this shoot done. And it's given us 4 options. Look at all the plush granite it is using here. Here it's decided to take the top off. So there's a hook and there's a one without a hook. And nice little fun, a candle, a spa feel is coming through. And then, it's also put alternate products just to show you which products it goes along with. Amazing, right? So this is an example of how you can do product photo shoots if you have the right vision for where you'd like to see your product. And you can just click on generate more and it's going to do 4 more for you, right? That's the part. It never tires like how we tire. Now, this is the next tool that I wanted to show you. It's called as Happenstance. And Happenstance looks like this. It looks very, very similar to ChatGPT. But what it does is it has this feature called as connectors, which asks you to add all your social presences that are there. So Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Outlook. Because I use it for work, I've connected my Google, my LinkedIn, and my Twitter. And together, it says that I have about 4,000 odd connections that I can dig into, right? And it's also giving me a feed from all these places. That way, it's kind of like us getting the best of the entire network that we've built, right? Now I can say, just got a new client that is looking for data and pipelining work, looking forward to people that can help me with that. So I can use this as my social media feed, right? So let me just... Right? I can post that and immediately it's going to try and give me searches with respect to that. Let's see what it comes up with. While it's doing that, I can also do a genetic search. So search through my connections or not, right? So I say search through my connections, my friends' connections, and a bot that they have. Hey, I'm looking for interns and junior resources that can help me with the data and pipelining exercise. It would involve the entire extract, transform, and load parts of the process. Right? This is a private thing. I'm just going to click on search. And it's going to start looking through all the connections that I have across all these parameters. Right? 2,000 people in Twitter, 1,800 people in LinkedIn, 371 contacts, 200 from Gmail, 196 from the calendar, and 3,000 from the friends and other groups. This is amazing, right? And you can see the thinking. So it's saying, hey, I have to look at education experience, someone who is an intern, a junior resource, has experience in these, is a candidate for an intern or a junior role, is open to a new intern or junior opportunity. So it's filtering LinkedIn on our behalf. It says completing an internship, student intern, so it's going to try and find that out, and then it's going to give me a list. So it says Dhruv Kapadia from your network, Sanjana Jagalpudi from your network, Pradam Vaishnav from your network. All of these people would be interesting sources. And then it's also giving us a max score. So the more number of greens, the better your chance of them fitting your purpose. So it's saying, is this person an intern? Yes. Is this person a junior resource? Yes. Does this person have experience with data pipelining? Sort of. Is this person a candidate for an intern or junior role? Yes. Is this person open to new opportunities? Yes. So I feel like going ahead and reaching out to Dhruvi and trying to figure out if she could actually fit my need. So she has a lot of experience around data, and I'm actually starting to see that, right? I'll show you some of my past queries as well. So, for example, I was building a product for AI enthusiasts and journalists like the people we have on this call, and it found a bunch of people for that. It started with me and Vaibhav, which makes sense because we talk a lot about AI, but there's a bunch of other people working in AI in my network as well that I could reach out to. So that was happenstance, and it is a very, very nice way for you to quickly get an understanding of what kind of people exist in your network and how can you utilize them for your use cases. Generally, we end up building a very large network, but we don't know the best way to use it, and that's where this comes out to the fore. Now, moving to the last couple of demos, please bear with me for the next 10 odd minutes because we will get to the close of the session then. These are the most exciting demos of the entire session. So, what if I told you that you can actually work with data using AI, right? What if data could organize a table for you, data could research further, data could dig deeper, give you patterns, give you visualizations, all the things that we are looking forward to in working with data, we can do them with Numerous.ai. Now, you might look at this logo and say, hey, this looks familiar. That is because they have their logo, their presence very similar to Excel and Google Sheets. And the reason for that is because this tool actually exists inside your existing tools. Which means it's not like, hey, go to chatgpt.com and then chat with ChatGPT. Numerous AI actually comes to you wherever you are. Let me show you an example. So this is a sheet of data that I have, and I'm going to actually try and see if I can break this down for you before I start working with it. Alright. So this is a sheet of reviews for an app called as Happy Eaters. It's one of the apps that I co-founded. It's live on App Store and Play Store. And these are real parents that are giving reviews publicly on my app. Some of them have given me a 5-star, some of them have given me a 1-star, but they've given detailed reviews as well. So I know what they are thinking. But this is 20 reviews. I have 10,000 such reviews that I have to deal with. What do I do, right? So first things first, I'm going to give you 3 different examples of how AI can be used here. Now the first step is me trying to use this for sentiment analysis. What I'm going to do, and I want all of you to focus here on the formula bar, right? So I'm saying NAI, which is Numerous AI, classify the sentiment of this review in the cell C2. Now the cell C2 is this guy, C2, as one of the following: positive, negative, or neutral, right? And I click on enter, and it immediately says positive. I copy this formula, I go all the way to the bottom, and I paste it in the entire row, and you'll see that it's loading. It's reading this entire review with the help of AI inside a cell. Right? So ChatGPT is inside this cell right now. How magical is that? It reads this review and it responds saying, hey, this person is giving a negative review, 1-star, negative. What is interesting is sometimes you might have a 5-star, but it does not necessarily translate to a positive review. So here's an example. And I'm going to just highlight Divya Arora. Who's giving me a 5-star, but actually has given it doesn't show me recipes. So it's a neutral review. Right? So this is hard to find when you're just going with numbers or just going with text, but AI can combine both of these. Now what if I told you I want to respond to all of these monks that I responded, but I want to give them unique responses to their particular reviews. Now this is why I say AI actually makes you more human if you use it right. Again, let's focus on the formula bar here. So I say write a one-liner reply for this review that is again in the cell C2. Ensure that it speaks like the most kindest person in the world. I can convert the kindest into, say, let's for the sake of fun, call this the most sarcastic person in the world. Wow, who knew feeding a tiny human could be so complicated? Thank goodness for Happy Eaters, because clearly choosing between chicken nuggets and mac and cheese was just too much to handle. Right? Full of sass. Now, I'm not a sassy brand because my brand is a happy brand. So I'm gonna say happy. Let's see what it comes. Happy it has transformed mealtime into a joyful adventure for both my daughter and me. It's truly a game changer for busy moms. Now this is more like a review than a reply, so I have to ensure that it changes. So I'm gonna say most kind person in the world. I want to say review in C2. So all of that is in place. So let's see what it comes up with. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience. It's hard for me to hear how happy it has made meal planning joyful adventure for you and your daughter. Usually, when you go and review, you get thank you for your review as a repetitive reply. But now, I can literally just drag this guy all the way to the bottom, wait for 5 seconds, and all of these cells will be populated with custom replies. Hey, we're so sorry to hear about the trouble you're having. Thank you so much for your heartwarming words. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you so much for your kind words. See how every response is different, right? This is exciting. Now the last aspect, this is very, very exciting for me because I'm a product guy. I want to know what product feature or what aspect of the product actually prompted them to give me a review, because giving a review is a very high touch action. They must have felt really strongly about it. So there you go. Back to the formula bar. Guess the product feature that prompted the user to write this review, and write them in 2 words. The review is in the cell C2, again the same cell. So meal planning is a product feature that the first parent liked, but I can just again drag this all the way to the bottom. And this becomes a strategic exercise now, because I'm looking into what part of my app actually gets people interested. So there's meal planning. This person had internet connectivity issues. People like the fridge feature. So we have a very lovely feature where you click a picture of your fridge and it's going to tell you what you can cook with that. Some people are not liking the invasive advertising. So I'm going to bold this, put it in italics, and I'm going to call it out to my business team and developers. Right? There you go. So very, very quickly, I've been able to break down and understand what are the features that are important. So meal planning seems to be a recurring theme, and so does the fridge feature. So these two seem to be working, and we should be kind of developing further on them, right? So that was us using a tool called as Numerous AI, and we used it to analyze 20 different rows of data. It does not care if that is 1,000 different rows of data. You have a quite generous free plan. I think it allows about 500 credits, but the paid plan is totally worth it as well because of how much work it can get done for you. And it does it inside the tool. So it also works in Excel, it also works in Google Sheets. So if you're a person that spends a lot of time on these tools, you might want to consider this. Now, moving on. I've already covered 10 odd tools, and I'm sure some of you are like, whoa, this is a lot. We always try to pack as much value as possible in these sessions, and one of my ways of delivering this is to narrate all of this in a story so that it does not get too heavy. But I do understand if you feel like, man, this AI world is going crazy, there's just so much stuff happening all the time. Now, if you want to keep yourself updated, and if you want to learn more AI tools, there's a lovely little tool called as Flick. It feels like the Tinder for learning AI, because you're just flicking through different updates, and it ensures that the latest comes to you in an app rather than you going to multiple sources. This will also be provided to you in the chat towards the end of the session, so please stay till the end of the session. Funny actually dropped the link right now, so if you're interested, just open that in a new tab, because we are moving to the last demo of the day. Should we do it? Or are you tired? Should we do one last demo before we close? Okay, awesome. Lots of energy still in the chat. I needed this because I felt like I was just talking and talking. But looks like the energy is in the room. So let's go ahead and do one last demo. This one is special because very, very recently, it was an invite-only experience. It needed you to have a max plan, which was $200 per month to get access to. But today, I'm going to promise you that all of you that are here will be welcomed to the era of agentic AI. Everything that we've done until now was generative AI, but agentic AI is when you're hands-free, right? You're literally hands-free. And this is the last demo. So let's go ahead and set the mode to close this out on a high. I'm going to jump a different way this time, and let's see if that works. Okay, looks like it did. And I'm going to launch this assistant on the right, and I'm going to use WhisperFlow for one last time in this call. Hi, I have 11,000 odd people watching me and you deliver this in a live session. Can you go ahead and make this interesting? Here are some things I want you to do. Open my YouTube music and play Welcome to the Machine by Pink Floyd. Then open Claude.ai on a new tab and go ahead and create an artifact for an HTML greeting card that has curtains, and on pressing a button the curtain reveals "Welcome all of you to the agentic era. Love, RB." Can you do this for me? Now folks, I've just typed that out. I'm going to hit enter. And after that, I'm going to try and not put my hands on the keyboard or the mouse. I'm not going to use WhisperFlow to prompt it further. Let's see if this tool can figure this out. Okay, that's my enter. You heard the clank, and that's it. Let's see what it does. Alright, so it's got a plan. It's open YouTube music. It searched for Welcome to the Machine by Pink Floyd, and now it started playing. And this is the point where I will probably stop doing the commentary. Just focus on the screen and watch the magic unfold. Hands still up, by the way. So open Claude.
ग्लास आ गए
Literally everyone welcome to the machine. That's a lot of code that it's writing. I'm sure most faces are like that surprise smiley. Emoji that you have. Oh. If you're seeing this for the first time, you know the first time this happened to me, I just stopped. Like I was just staring at the screen saying, what the hell? It's finished coding, guys. In sync with the music. I'm going to use the mouse one last time when I expand this for you. Nice little velvet curtains that we have on the screen. Should we just go ahead and click on reveal? Okay, let it give me back control. It's still waiting. Maybe we'll do the demo by itself also. I'm not sure now. I don't know when it will stop. Okay, I'm getting restless. I'm going to stop. We still have the control on top of these agents. So I'm going to click on reveal. Welcome all of you to the Agentic Era. With love, RB. I hope that today's session was eye-opening for a lot of you. I hope that all of you enjoyed as much as you learned, because that is one of the goals that I try for. I'm going to DJ my way out of this music track now, and I'm going to move to the last slide for today. A quick summary of everything that we've learned, from starting with the basics of what is generative AI, then learning the magic prompt formula, learning what's happening behind the scenes, learning how to talk to AI, how to pick a model, how to pick the top rated models from OpenRouter, how to compare different models on multi, and then going into 10, 12 different tools that I use in different parts of my life. I've shared them extremely generously with real world use cases with all of you. I hope that you all can build your own AI toolkit to solve these problems for yourself every day. Good luck, all of you. I hope everyone's leaving this room feeling a little more accomplished than when you started out. A big congratulations to all of you. because you've decided to come here, learn, rather than just be scared of AI, rather than just wait for the wave to come to you. You're going and surfing the tide. I'm so happy that so many people have joined us today. Good luck, stay ahead, and outskill the rest. Over to you, Funny.